My next guest says there is no doubt in his mind that Deborah is guilty. Former LAPD homicide detective and Fox News contributor Mark Furman joins me now. Mark covered this case extensively when it was breaking and is back with us tonight. Mark, your thoughts on what you've seen tonight?
Well, I'm not deterred from my opinion that Deborah Bradley is most definitely the suspect, whether intentional or otherwise. I think she was responsible for the disappearance and most probably the death of Lisa Irwin. I don't think Jeremy is involved at all. I think he is an unwitting pawn of Deborah Bradley that is going along with her innocence routine and really the scam that's going on here.
Why? Why? Because, you heard Phil. He has no, horse in this race. He says she did not indicate deception.
Well, and with all due respect to somebody that worked for the CIA and dealt with terrorists, that's fine, but you observe them for hours, days, weeks, months, sometimes years. You understand how they are on and off camera, on and off interrogation. And this interrogation wasn't an interrogation. It was barely an interview.
Which they admit. They say it was an interview and it would have switched over to interrogation if they had seen identifiers of deception. Sorry, go ahead.
It couldn't. It couldn't because they have no evidence to confront Deborah or Jeremy about the crime scene or the disappearance. They didn't have the privilege to have that information that the police department has, whether it's forensics or other evidence that they have, such as the cadaver dog that keyed in the bedroom. They don't have that information. They don't have timelines. They don't have cell phone records. They don't have anything. And neither does Bill Stanton. And this is the interesting part about this investigation is that interview was entertaining, but it meant nothing. She failed a polygraph.
Well,
at the best, she was inconclusive.
We think she failed. I mean, then later they came out and told Joe Tacopina, their lawyer, Tacopina claims the police later told him that she didn't actually fail. That was a tactic. We don't know what the truth is.
Well, the truth is, let's just go with Deborah Bradley. She said she failed. She was confronted. She will not allow herself a one-on-one conversation with the detectives in an interrogation room setting. That being said, she allows somebody that's a private citizen that worked for the CIA to come in and ask her softball questions, Larry King questions, and of course she's going to be able to answer those questions. She's had time to prepare for them, and she's had people preparing. Why would they allow her to sit down with this man if they thought that there was going to be any way that she would actually be found to be deceptive? And what would it mean?
What do you think?
It would mean nothing.
What do you think is the most compelling piece of evidence against her? I mean, I realize the statistics suggest it's always the parent, but what's your view?
Well, let's just throw statistics. Let's throw everything we know about this crime or any other crime that's like it. And when you just look this on face value, you have to turn the coin over and look at what you don't have. First, it's supposedly a kidnapping. It's not a kidnapping. There's no ransom note. There's no ransom call. Nobody has the baby and wants money. There's no blackmail involved. It's not a kidnapping. That means you're dealing with a missing child or a homicide. That's what you're dealing with.
What about selling the baby?
The Kansas City Police Department. I mean, first, it's ridiculous. It isn't. I mean, that's not something that even happens in this country. Mostly, it happens with babies that are adopted from other countries, and they use them in a black market in other countries, not our country. That's not even an issue. These are things that people that want to create some kind of cloud of doubt. You look at this. Just look at this information that you have. The baby goes missing. First, Deborah Bradley says she puts the baby down at 10:30. Then when you interview her, she used you to actually bring the real time, 6:40 in the evening, that she put the baby down as the actual time she laid the baby in her crib. And what good would it be to do that on your show? You didn't have any information to interrogate her about what that change of timeline meant. The police wanted to talk to her immediately after they saw your show, but she wouldn't allow that. Okay, when you have this circumstance, she blacked out. She also conveniently brought the 6- and the 8-year-old to her bedroom. Why? Well, that was an alibi. They're in her bedroom. Now she has two people that can say, I was with mommy asleep in her room. When you have the 10:30 timeline, somewhere in that period, something happened to the baby and Deborah Bradley left the house. Why are the cell phones missing? A kidnapper comes in, leaves absolutely no trace evidence whatsoever. Not a hair, not a fiber, DNA, fingerprint, nothing. Takes a baby, takes 3 cell phones. If it was a kidnapping, just how is the kidnapper supposed to get a hold of the people that he wants money from or to tell them he has the baby? Why did he take the cell phones? Well, he didn't. That was her way of showing there was somebody else in the house.
Wow. Mark, it's always fascinating to listen to you as somebody who's actually investigated homicides on your take on it. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
Well, this past November marked 4 years since baby Lisa was born. Next, Deborah and Jeremy join me to talk about what life is like now without their daughter.